This podcast is brought to you by Delta Neuro Health, located in Columbus, Ohio, where non-invasive, personalized care is revolutionizing the way we approach complex neurological issues. With cutting-edge techniques in functional neurology, functional medicine, and chiropractic care, we're leading the way in managing conditions like concussion, dizziness, brain fog, anxiety, POTS, attention, and more. To learn more, visit our website at deltaneurohealth.com. All right, so we are live. So hey everybody, thank you for joining our presentation. Today we're talking about optimizing cognition and memory, as I'm sure you all can see from the presentation behind me. So hopefully today, after today, you'll be able to walk away with a better understanding of the different aspects of cognition and memory, as well as some practical things that you can do at home to improve these two crucial things. So before we get into it, just a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Joseph Coppus. I'm a husband, also an expectant father, unless you couldn't tell. I am a former patient myself of this functional neurology care. I'm a functional neurology / functional medicine practitioner. I'm the owner here at Delta Neuro Health. I host the Neuro Health broadcast and the previous Neuro Wellness podcast, Brain Health Advocate, and I am also the grandson of grandparents who struggled with Alzheimer's and dementia. So this presentation is definitely near and dear to my heart. So hopefully what I've learned can benefit you. Oh, there I am. It's like I can fill that picture right there. Anyway, so a little on our clinic. So again, this is Delta Neuro Health. We practice functional neurology, functional medicine, neurofeedback. We have chiropractic care, and also clinical nutrition. So using all these things, we take a holistic approach to healthcare, not including cognition and memory. Just to start us off tonight, I want to give you some important statistics. Currently, 2.9 million people in the U.S. Struggle with Alzheimer's or dementia. That's 1 in 9 people over the age of 65 report some level of cognitive decline. Alzheimer's disease is costing our nation $79 billion a year, and that's projected to increase to 9.3 million people by 2060. Okay. Some more important statistics about cognitive decline. The average age that somebody might experience cognitive decline or notice cognitive decline is age of 70. The first sign is typically losing items. Age, unfortunately, is the primary factor contributing to cognitive decline. So for better or worse, we cannot really change that, or else we probably don't want to, because the alternative is far worse. And then cognitive decline actually has an inverse relationship with formal education. So typically, the more you're able to educate yourself, the less likely you are to struggle with cognitive decline down the road. There are current 4 known levels of cognitive decline, or 4 current accepted levels of cognitive decline. And starts with number 1, where we hope we all can stay for as long as possible. And that is no cognitive decline or no cognitive impairment. The second step is subjective cognitive impairment, meaning you are starting to notice that maybe you're becoming more forgetful. Maybe other people around you haven't started to notice, but you deep down are starting to realize these or this thing. The third is mild cognitive impairment, And this is where others start to notice, family members, coworkers, etc. And then step 4 is our dementia. Here are 10 warning signs of dementia. So we have memory loss, difficulty completing tasks, disorientation, meaning forgetting where you are, what you're doing, things of that nature. Trouble with language, whether that be expressing what you mean to say or understanding what other people are trying to tell you. Changes in abstract thinking, poor judgment, poor spatial skills, difficulty navigating your environment, difficulty maybe remembering where you place things or where things are in your home or in your office space. Excuse me. Um, you might be misplacing things. You might experience mood, personality, or behavioral changes. That's something common that family members of those with dementia will notice, where maybe they start behaving a little bit more erratically or spontaneously or flirtatiously even, things that weren't their typical behavior prior to their cognitive decline. And then loss of initiative, meaning like apathy, just not wanting to do things, losing your zest for life, those sorts of things. And we're also talking about memory, right? So there are different types of memory that I want to illuminate today. So working memory, this is more so like brain storing of information and then being able to manipulate it in the moment. Sensory memory, that's more so your memory that allows you to remember specific sensations. Excuse me. Um, So this could be things like remembering what pineapple tastes like, or remembering what your pillow feels like first thing you do when you lay down at night, or what grass feels like on your feet. That's sensory memory. Semantic memory, that's more long-term storage of facts. So you could have like, so this is your ability to pull up, maybe what year did World War One start? And somebody might be able to tell me 1916, and I don't know if that's right, but it sounds right. So, prospective memory, that's remembering the intent behind something in the past to do something in the future. So you can think of this when you go into a room and you had every intention to go in there to grab your favorite magazine, but when you got into the room, you forget why you were in there and you're not really sure why you're in there, and then you just kind of scratch your head and maybe walk away without ever grabbing your magazine. Episodic memory, these are like brief snippets of your life, kind of like those flashbacks of your life. Procedural memory, this is our ability to remember how to perform certain tasks, whether you're a carpenter or a chiropractor or any of these sorts of kind of tasks, remembering how to do and bike riding, yep. Remembering how to do these tasks, that's procedural memory. And then, of course, there are different types of cognition, memory being one of those types of cognition, the way data is encoded, stored, and retrieved. Attention, the ability to selectively concentrate on something of interest. Perception, so the organization and interpretation of sensory information. So, do you have a good idea of what's going on around you? How's your perception? Language, again, how are you able to communicate? Do you have difficulties expressing what you mean to say? Do you have a difficult time understanding what people are trying to tell you or explain to you? Another type is learning, self-explanatory, the process of acquiring new information, which we hope to exercise that tonight. Reasoning, that's your ability to think through problems. Decision making, selecting appropriate actions given certain information. And then executive function, facilitation of behavioral management. So what is your affect like? What is your kind of personality like, more or less? How are you behaving in the world? So these are the different types of cognitions. These are the different types of memory. We know that, as we age, memory is declining, but the reason you're probably here tonight is because you are concerned with what you can actually do about improving your memory and your cognition. Am I right? So a lot of people, talk about, oh, my grandpa did this and he lived to be this old and he was completely fine, or my grandpa did these things, he lived healthily and, he still developed, yada yada, cognitive decline. Um, so there are certain things that we cannot change, and those things are our genetics, right? Genetics can't be changed, but we can change the expression of those genes, right? I often say genetics load the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. So what we can focus on tonight are those things that we can have control over. So the expression of those genes, making sure we don't pull the trigger, maybe. So, everybody's got their genetic strengths and weaknesses, but if we can follow some of these principles, then hopefully we can, uh, regardless, improve our cognition and our memory as we age. So the three main factors that we're going to talk about tonight are everyone's least favorite things to talk about. Oh, great. So we're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about lifestyle, and we're going to talk about stimulation. Okay. So I can feel the moans. So the first thing, diet and nutrition. I want to just get a show of hands from the audience. Um, I'm curious what you consider to be a quote unquote healthy diet for brain health, for cognition, and what you might consider to be unhealthy for memory and cognition as we age. So let's start it off right at the top. Who thinks, let's say, raise your right hand if you think this is a healthy thing. Raise your left hand if you think this is an unhealthy thing for memory and cognition. So berries, okay, a lot of right hands. Poultry, so like chicken, duck. Okay, yep. Moderate hands. Cookies. Okay, well, we got some mixed opinions here in the audience with cookies. Uh, and this is yeah, I know this is a very personal thing, so everybody's got their biases here. How about nuts? Okay, also some mixed. Avocado. Yep, right hands, lots of right hands. Soda pop. Good. We soda pop people, we soda people, pop people. How about potato chips? Okay, we got some left hands, good. Eggs, mixed, yep, a lot of mixed. Alcohol, what do you think? Okay, a little bit of mixed, yeah. There's a lot of different information out there. Hot dogs, yep, that's a no-brainer. French fries, okay, another easy ball, softball. Green leafy vegetables. Yep. Good. Candy. Yep. So what about pasta? Yeah, that's another one people are a little on the fence about, I see. Bread. Yeah, kind of on the fence, yeah. Fish. Yep. Good, strong. How about red meat? Okay, a little bit of mixed reviews here, a little bit of mixed opinions again. And then tea. Yep, everybody's kind of in agreement about tea. Good. So here are my thoughts. So things I consider to be good for the brain: poultry, red meat, nuts, avocados, fatty fish, green leafy vegetables, eggs, and tea. These things tend to be good. Poultry, red meat, those have essential amino acids. They have iron supply, which is great for delivering oxygen to the brain, all sorts of things. They have nuts, avocado, fatty fish. We get those healthy fats that are so good for our brain. Green leafy vegetables have all the essential, have a lot of B vitamins, a lot of essential vitamins that we really need. Eggs, lots of great things there. Choline, really good for the brain. Tea, especially green tea, can be really beneficial for the brain. Whereas, as you notice, things on the right side, the not so good. I guess that's your left side. We've got French fries, candy, pasta, bread, soda, cookies, potato chips, alcohol. And what we're going to talk about is insulin sensitivity and why that's important for brain health. A lot of these things on the not so good for the brain side, these are going to spike our blood sugar, increasing insulin so that over time we become more and more insulin resistant. And we'll talk about why that's important in just a second. But I know there's a lot of um, debate, amongst practitioners, is red meat good? Are eggs good? Is bread, is pasta good? Is alcohol good? I would say keeping as much of these things on the right or on the not so good in moderation is going to be in your best interest. It doesn't mean that you can never eat these things ever. It just means be intentional about when you eat it and how much. Alcohol, though, I'm kind of on the opinion that uh, there's not necessarily any good amount of alcohol. I don't think alcohol is inherently healthy. Some people may debate me on that or disagree with me on that, but a lot of the health benefits of alcohol, like the antioxidant effects, I mean, you can easily get that from things like berries, um, other good fruits that also don't have the negative effects that alcohol has on our body and our brain. Here's some simple research statistics, some facts on diet. Obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure in midlife uh, increase dementia by 33%. Okay, that's pretty significant. A lower intake of omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, that's your fish oils, more likely in those with cognitive decline. B vitamins are essential for brain development. So that's where your healthy meats, your green leafy vegetables, your berries, things of that nature. Vitamin A, iodine, iron are often deficient and contribute uh, to positive brain health. If by consuming them, they contribute to positive brain health. Deficiencies can then do the opposite effect. Vitamin D, best source of vitamin D, obviously that's going to be the sun. That is essential. And then low vitamin D levels is associated with an increase in Alzheimer's disease risk. Antioxidants such as vitamin E and C, which we can get from those berries, have been shown to help with cognitive decline. And then a higher intake of those green leafy vegetables has shown to slow progression of cognitive decline. So hopefully there's some things on the good list that you're really excited about, and hopefully you're not too heartbroken by the not so good list. Okay. So I told you I would circle back to this thought, but insulin resistance and cognitive decline. So one of the current thoughts and theories that excuse me, one of the perpetuating thoughts and theories behind the cause of Alzheimer's, or one of the causes of Alzheimer's, is type 3 diabetes. A lot of people are probably familiar with type 1 and type 2, yeah. So type 3 diabetes is kind of this chronic long-term consumption of higher glycemic index types of foods, like those things that were higher on the not so good side, like breads, pastas, candy, pop, those sorts of things. Those have a lot of glucose, a lot of high glycemic index. They're going to spike your insulin, which over time is going to make you more and more insulin resistant. And then when the neurons of the brain become unable to respond to insulin, that's when we start to develop these insulin deficiencies, which is central to cognitive decline in Alzheimer's disease. And they've even shown that insulin-related therapeutics have been shown to slow the progress of, or the progression of Alzheimer's disease. when I said eat those things in moderation, right? You don't have to eliminate them completely, but just be smart about how you eat those things. So the analogy I like to think of when it comes to blood sugar is a forest fire, or not forest fire, but a campfire. So if you think about, you make your fire, if you put kindling on, what's going to happen is the fire is going to burn up and then it's going to die out pretty quickly. So you might get a quick burst of energy, a quick flame, and then it's going to die out. This is kind of how carbs or these high glycemic index foods work in our body. We're going to get that burst of glucose of energy and then the quick die out and that crash. But on the reverse side, if we put like a nice sturdy log on the fire, that log is going to sustain the fire over a longer period of time. And the log is representative of healthy fats and proteins. So yes, we need the kindling, but we also need to sustain our blood sugar throughout the day, throughout our lives. Okay, so if you're looking to structure breakfast, probably the worst thing you can eat for breakfast are pancakes and syrup on its own with chocolate chips. Tons of carbs that's just gonna shoot up your glucose, your insulin, and you're gonna crash, making you more and more insulin resistance as the years go on. But let's say you had some eggs with that, some healthy fat, protein. Maybe you had like some healthy-ish bacon in moderation, or some moderate amount of sausage or an avocado, even better. Um, at least those things are going to help. Uh, those things are going to help sustain your blood sugar throughout the day. And I'm not a big proponent on bacon and sausage, so that may not have been the best example, but things like eggs or avocado might help sustain that energy. So you're not just getting that big glucose spike. And don't eat a ton of those pancakes. So no. Um, okay. Now the second thing I want to address tonight is lifestyle and our social habits. Okay. So this guy on the left, he's doing pretty good. He's happy. He's working out. He's got his healthy drink. He's heart healthy, and he's eating his apple. The other guy, smoking burgers, alcohol, and maybe medication or whatever you want to say that is. So some negative lifestyle factors might include smoking. There's definitely a correlation between smoking and cognitive decline, chronic stress, inactivity, isolation, excess alcohol, losing your sense of purpose, poor or inadequate sleep, and then apathy, apathetic approach to learning, all negative lifestyle factors that can perpetuate cognitive and memory decline. On the flip side, we can think of some positive lifestyle factors, which might include regular cardio and resistance exercise, meditation and prayer, drinking plenty of water, social involvement, stay involved with your community, stay involved with your families, friends, brain games. I'm gonna see if you guys can think of any before the end of the night. Having a strong sense of purpose, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is what I consider to be ideal. And then a willingness to learn new things. So, does anybody know or remember who this guy is? No? So, this is Jack LaLanne. He was a fitness icon, and this is an interview of him when he's 95. So I just want to let it play for a little bit so that you can just hear the way he's speaking and presenting himself. Um,
On forever.
so,
Tell us about it. Good morning.
That wrecked my image.
It was
So-
right for him.
Here I am, just at my 95th birthday. I've been practicing 95 years. Now I'm gonna start doing some living.
Oh, I love that. Can you share with us, because in the book you share so many wonderful tips, but is there
In this
one
book-
motto that you live by?
It's 12 steps to optimum health, fitness, and longevity.
so he's 95. He was 95 at this time, and he's still articulating very well. He's writing a new book. He's excited to start his life finally, right? So if he was cognitively declining, probably would not be able to write a book very easily and articulate the thoughts of that book very well on national live television.
Helping people.
I know.
They help themselves.
And that's
Sorry. Okay, let's get back on track.
he's called the
Okay. So he was all about fitness. He was all about exercise. Lived a very long, healthy life. And that's the key, right? We want to live long, which modern medicine has done a great job of extending our lives. But we also want to live a high quality life, right? We want quantity and quality. We don't, which I don't know that our current healthcare system is set up to encourage high quality aging as much as it is high quantity aging. So that's where we need to take matters into our own hands, be responsible with our lives and our diets. So exercise is going to increase something known as BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is like fertilizer for the neurons. So this helps grow new neurons. And that's going to be a theme that I'll talk about a little bit later, but neuroplasticity. The brain has the ability to adapt and change given the appropriate stimulation. BDNF from exercising is going to just facilitate that neuroplasticity and the formation of stronger neural pathways. Some quick facts on research on lifestyle factors might include a short sleep duration has been associated with an increased risk of cognitive decline. Physical activity decreases the risk of cognitive decline on the flip side. There's a faster rate of cognitive decline among smokers, especially in executive function. That's our behavior. People with higher stress levels are more likely to experience cognitive decline. Is anyone stressed in here? Okay, a few people. Brain damage from long-term alcohol use can be extensive and severe on cognition and memory. Those who study new languages or instruments have slower rates of cognitive decline. So there's some great things you can do now. Individuals who report a higher sense of purpose ultimately perform better on cognitive tasks, especially memory and verbal fluency. So all the things we kind of talked about already, here's some research to support that. And then I wanted to take a special moment to talk about socializing or socialization. Greater social engagement, being involved in community, being involved with your friends, going to the community center, being involved with your kids and your grandkids' lives. These things, they've measured contact with family and friends and participation in social activity, and they showed a consistent reduction in cognitive decline over 3, 6, and 12 years. So it's really, really important to be socially engaged. The third factor I want to talk about tonight is brain stimulation. Brain stimulation is where we're going to get more into that, the neuroplasticity. The brain has the ability to adapt and change given the appropriate stimulation, right? So here's a quick thing we do in the office. So this is called the C3 Logics. This is actually designed as a post-concussion test, but what it is essentially is it measures your symptom severity scores, and then it measures your different facets of cognition. So SAC, you can see that person, their standard assessment of cognition will measure immediate memory, will measure concentration, will measure your orientation. We get numbers to quantify those things. Trails A, that's kind of how quickly can you connect dots 1, 2, 3, 4. Same with Trails B, only 1A, 2B, 3C. So it's a little more cognitively demanding. We test processing speed. we test reaction time, and then we test choice reaction time. Not only do we test the before when you come in, but after we work with you for a little while, we retest the after to make sure we're seeing those positive improvements in cognition. And we can show you that you are improving. Not only can we show you, but hopefully you'll be feeling it as well. This is just an example of the trails testing. So you see they're employing a search mechanism to try to find the next subsequent number in order. And then we had the next one, trails B. So yeah, following 1A, 2B, 3C, so on and so forth. So you can see it's a little bit more challenging. Okay, and then this one, this is testing the processing speed. So here, the patient was trying to match the symbols with the numbers up here in the key. The faster they can do that, the faster we can measure their processing speed as being. Okay, and then this is reaction time. So they're trying to hit that green dot as fast as it comes up, and we're measuring that time in between when the dot appears and when the dot was hit. Okay, and that is a good measure of our frontal lobe activity. And then this next one, we have choice reaction time, where they're trying to hit the green dot. So that was one quick example. So they're trying to hit the green dot, not the blue dot, with the hand on the same side that the green dot appears. So choice, reaction time, response inhibition, go, no go types activities. So people who might struggle with this are those who maybe are having those behavioral changes. They're not able to inhibit their responses like they were when they had a stronger frontal lobe activity before they started to experience that cognitive decline. So we can measure their choice reaction time, their reaction time, which is a good indicator of frontal lobe activity, cognitive health. Compare that against their peers, and then we kind of know how far we need to go or how much improvement we need to make. Another really cool test that is important to look at any age is the single leg stand test. Single leg stand test, believe it or not, your balance can be indicative of your cognitive health, right? So poor balance was associated with lower cognitive function. An abnormal single leg standing test can predict cognitive decline. So we look here, normal values for an 18 to 39-year-old, you should be able to stand on 1 foot for 43.3 seconds. But then 80 to 99-year-old should only need to be able to stand on their one leg for 6.2 seconds. So if you try this, if you're watching this or if you're on Spotify right now, maybe pull up the video real quick, take a look at these normal values, see what age range you might fall in, and then, test yourself in a safe environment, make sure there's things you can hold on to. See if you can't achieve the single leg stand test minimum for your age group. So I already kind of mentioned it, but neuroplasticity, that's a key concept with what we do here at Delta Neuro Health. This is, again, processes that involve adaptive structural and functional changes to the brain. Simply, the brain has the ability to adapt and change given the appropriate stimuli and environment. So we want to first identify where somebody might be lacking in their cognition and memory. And then we want to create specific and appropriate therapies, games, exercises to strengthen those specific areas of decreased cognitive decline. An app I really like to use here, and I recommend this to anybody who's interested in improving their cognition and memory, but it's Brain HQ. This is kind of like a personal trainer for your brain. It breaks up its exercises into different kind of facets of cognition. So if you really want to focus on processing speed or memory or people skills, there's a game for that, and it adjusts to your level. So if something is too hard, it's going to shift to make it a little bit easier. But as you get better, it's going to slowly make it harder and harder to continue to push you. right? So it's kind of a, like I said, a built-in personal trainer for your brain. But yep, significant improvement in cognition and memory. These are some of their statistics or some of their research findings. Specific tasks performed were shown to significantly improve. Improvement in standard and generalized memory tasks. Positive changes in everyday life. So it's important that, it's one thing if you're improving in the test itself or the game itself, that's great and all. But the thing I like about Brain HQ is it actually translates to your everyday life. Okay. Because what good is it if you're really good at a test when you're trying to remember, or good at a game when you're trying to remember, where you put your sunglasses or your keys, so on and so forth. Here's just a quick example of a test. This is a good one for kind of working memory. Um, so we've got Card Shark, where the person is supposed to remember, a few cards back. Were they able to get that correct? So does the card that just flipped over equal that card to the right? So you have to keep all these things in your brain, which is very tough. I'll be honest, that one is pretty tough. And then we've got this one. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but here you're supposed to remember the order of the circles that lit up. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the patient would be tasked to hit those in the order that they showed up. Okay. Sounds pretty tough. And then we've got this one. This is a good one for visual memory. So those keys appeared, it disappeared, and then it adds a key. You have to pick out the key that was added. So it'll happen again. So we've got those keys, they disappear. There's one new key. Can you see where it is, or can anybody guess where it is? There it is. Okay. I'll give you one more. Okay, where's the new key? So I'll let you guys decide amongst yourselves. I won't put anybody on the spot. All right, one more, but yeah, you get the idea. And though that's really fun, here's some just quick little video that we put together last year. Just a few therapies that we offer at the clinic that can be helpful for cognitive health, memory, brain speed, frontal lobe integrity, things of that nature. So a lot of fun stuff here, but you don't really need all the fancy gadgets to improve your brain health. Here's a free app, another free app. This is called Stroop. I like this one. Turn the volume down. So this person, they're trying to kind of hit. So up top, it'll say, it'll have a color written in a certain color. What's important there is what color the word is written in. And then down at the bottom, you have to hit the word that describes the color at the top. So like that one. So right here, this is the word green, but it's written in red. So the correct answer would be this red button down here, even though this is written in green. Probably didn't make a lot of sense, but this is one I do with people a lot that's really good at engaging different aspects of response inhibition, go, no go types of activity, frontal lobe integrities, things of that nature. So there can be many simple and inexpensive ways to improve memory and cognitive function. I'm going to ask you guys to start thinking about what are some creative and easy ways you can think of to improve memory and cognition with some easy things at home. So some things that come to mind for me, not to spoil it, but you got your memory games, you got your Duolingo, your crosswords, your Sudoku, your Rubik's Cube, chess, Uno. So these are great in general. However, we like to get a little bit more specific. So while crossword puzzles may be, good for your brain, engaging for the brain, it may not be specific for what you particularly need. And we tend to lean towards the activities that we excel at, usually not the things that we aren't so good at. So maybe that's your challenge after tonight is find something that you're not so good at, maybe within this ballpark here, and try to get better at it, right? If I'm terrible at Sudoku, I should maybe try to do more Sudoku. But I'm pretty decent at crosswords. So final question, I'm just gonna ask you to think amongst yourselves for a second, but I want you to think of a way that you can incorporate all of the key things that we discussed here today into one activity. So including healthy eating, the brain training, socializing, and physical activity. What's maybe one perfect afternoon where you can encompass these four things? So we'll answer questions here in a second. Uh, but if anyone wants more information about what it is we do here at Delta Neuro Health, if you're interested in some of the other presentations we've done or the podcasts we've done, interviewing a lot of amazing guests throughout the country and the world, please feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And then our podcast and our presentations are uploaded on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. Oh, no, that's wrong. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to stop the recording and answer all your questions so you're not on the recording. So just a second. And thank you all for coming again. This is our number. I'll leave it up here. And then this is our email. If you want to write it down, feel free to shoot me questions. If you want this presentation, I'm happy to send that to you as well. So thank you very much.